So my name is Ed Gardner. I'm a USA National Panel Referee for rugby. The first time I got involved with rugby was when I was in high school. I went to visit my brother who was at Georgetown University, and I think I was a senior in high school. I went to visit him, and he took me out to the rugby practice, which was really kind of cool because I was running around with a bunch of college kids, and here I am in high school, and I thought, these guys were the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I just saw the atmosphere around these guys was really kind of interesting to me. It was very fraternal, and I got to see one of their games, and I realized that sense of fraternity actually went beyond just the team itself or just the game itself. And what happened was, after the game was over, the other team and my brother's team actually got together for a party. And they had a very good party, and they were just enjoying themselves, and everybody's having a really good time. There were no hard feelings about anything. I'd never seen that before in sports. So I played rugby all through my university days, and then once I got out of college, I started playing with the men's club for a total of about 13 years. And so I was in my early 30s, and I ended up playing one game in Charlotte against a team from Kansas City, and I got my leg broken, and I got a couple of broken double compound tibia fit. So both my bones came out of my sock. It was pretty brutal, and that happened. And my wife and I, we just had our first child. So my wife comes to the hospital, and they're putting my leg back together, and then all these other things happened, all these other issues happened, and they didn't catch. I had an embolism, and they didn't catch that, and so there's all this drama. And after it was all said and done with, my wife said, if you want to keep playing rugby, I'm going to have an issue with that. So I thought I would start coaching rugby just to stay in the sport. But what I found was, as I started coaching, they'd ask you to ref games when they didn't have a referee available. And I actually found that reffing gave me some of the same excitement I would get as a player. And I found out reffing was actually really hard, because on a rugby field, you got 15 guys from each team. And, if you get really tired or if you get banged up, you can kind of go hide for a couple of minutes and then get back into the game again. It's a constantly moving game, but you can find little spots to hide on the field for a minute or two just to catch your breath. But there's only one referee out there, and that referee has to be at every single tackle or every breakdown. Every time there's a tackle made and the ball's moving back and forth and it's coming out again, that ref is supposed to be there at those tackles to manage those tackles. So there's nowhere to hide if you're the ref. If you make a mistake as a player, you drop the ball, you make a bad kick, you miss a tackle, something like that happens, and you know what? It happens. You got another chance to make another one here in a few minutes, or run with the ball again in a few minutes, and nobody's perfect, and everybody expects that out of you. But if the referee makes a mistake, everybody knows it, and they're all on top of you about that, and they give you a really hard time about that. But to be fair, there's a lot of pressure on you, and you got nowhere to hide. And I realized that there's this whole dynamic to refereeing that I never saw as a player, which was, how do you make the game safe for 30 men whose job it is really essentially is to just physically overwhelm each other, just beat each other up, when you're the only person out there whose job it is to keep it safe. And then on top of that, you're expected to actually manage this game and actually turn it into something fun for everyone. So it's an incredible responsibility. And when I realized that that's what you could get out of the game, and it was some game I was doing probably my first year as a referee, and I walked off, and one of the players came up and he said, "That was a really fun game, and you had a lot to do with that." And that was like when I got hooked. It's been a great trip. It's been an incredible ride, and the price of admission is you got to give up being part of a team, and you got to do it yourself individually. That's a little hard sometimes. Yeah, nobody wants to get up and run by themselves in the morning. I'd much rather be going to a practice with a whole team full of people. But that's not an option anymore. Really, the only benefits to refereeing are you may get some referee gear, so you get some pretty cool kit, and you get to see the world, though.